Hello and welcome to the Dojo Research Marketing News Podcast by Exposure Ninja. My name is Dale Davies. I'm the head of marketing at Exposure Ninja, and I'm joined by Charlie Marchant, our CEO. How are you doing, Charlie?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Pretty good. I have to say I was out a little bit late last night meeting with some friends, so on shaky ground at the moment.
This is why you were up at 11 p.m. seeing AI mode on your phone. I was fast asleep.
Exactly that. And I was searching for, I can't remember what it was now. I was searching for zebra striping, which is this new thing apparently that millennials and Gen Z are doing, maybe just millennials, where they have a alcoholic drink, then a non-alcoholic drink, and then an alcoholic drink and a non-alcoholic drink. So that's what I was on last night. Having a Guinness, then a 0%, then a Guinness, then a 0%, and so on.
Nice.
And AI mode helped me figure out what that was. It has a name.
Perfect.
So there you go. None of you listening or watching along need to go and search for what zebra heading is and see AI mode in the flesh. But there are going to be people who have no idea what AI mode is. So they have no idea what we're talking about. Charlie, what is AI mode?
Let me bring you up to speed then. So AI mode is Google's new type of search experience. They previously rolled this out in the US first. That happened on the 20th of May. Then they rolled it out in labs in testing in India in June. And they've just rolled it out a couple of days ago, the announcement was, in the UK. But I've only just seen it this morning. You've just seen it on your browser last night. What it looks like. So when you go onto google.com, google.co.uk, when you go to search in your browser on your phone, you will now have the option to enter your query and search in AI mode. And it also appears at a tab on the top as well, the same as images does, as news does, as all of those other options do. And if you switch to AI mode instead of the usual search results, you're going to get an AI generated answer. It's essentially an LLM as well. It looks very similar to if you got a ChatGPT answer to your query. So that's essentially what it is. New type of search. It's AI based using Gemini 2.5 in the background.
Joe, I'm very rapidly changing the background of the podcast. So anyone who's listening live, I was straight into Canva to change the background. I already downloaded it. I'm now trying to get into Google Drive. My Google Drive isn't working, so I'm having to re-download it and get it back up there. Yes, sorry. As live as it happens. So you nailed it. Yeah, AI mode is pretty much like a summary. As I've always described it as ChatGPT in the search results.
Yeah.
But how is that dissimilar to what we're already seeing with AI overviews?
Is
it like a big difference?
I would say it's quite a big difference. To me, it's almost like the next level version of that, where AI overviews is the summary that we see at the top of the normal search results or the regular search results, where then we have the 10 blue links eventually after Google's various search features that they have at the top. And AI mode, you have to unfurl it to see the whole answer for AI mode. So it's much, for AI overview. So it's much easier to skip over the AI overview if you want to, but it's similar in the sense it's a full AI generated answer. If you're very top of funnel, so say you're just doing an informational search like what is a mortgage, it's going to be able to answer the whole question for you in AI, perhaps with a couple of citation links for where it's got its sources from. But otherwise, you won't need to navigate to a website. So that's the key similarity between the AI overview and AI mode. The difference with AI mode, though, is this is now interactive. So you can ask it a follow-up question as well. So once you've got your basic information, you know what a mortgage is now, then you could be like, what kind of mortgage suits me? Give more information about yourself, and then you're going to get another tailored answer. Whereas the AI overview wasn't interactive like that. You couldn't have a follow-up conversation.
I'm going to bring up an example of what AI mode looks like right now. So in the US, it's slightly different, where you might actually see an AI overview is more likely to appear for a term such as the one I've searched for now, which is what is a mortgage. Let me just make this a bit bigger. The AI overview should be there just immediately. I'm surprised that it's not for this kind of term right now. I'm actually seeing quite a bit of fluctuation with AI overviews over this period of rollout for AI mode. Like a bunch of searches that I typically do to test AI overviews or to test whether AI mode appears, they're not bringing up anything right now. Like I would expect an AI overview to appear for this kind of search term, what is a mortgage? And it's not, it's just telling me that, or showing me that people also ask feature where you can open up other questions, get immediate responses. So, what is a mortgage in simple terms? This is kind of what AI mode is doing. It's taking all these questions and compacting them into an almost blog-like answer. I would expect if I click on AI mode on the top bar, so those who are listening along, I'd recommend you go to youtube.com/Exposure Ninja to be able to watch along and see what we're doing. But I do my best to describe it. But at the top where you would see all and images and shopping and things like that, there's a new tab called AI mode. If we just click on that, you'll then get almost a blog post like response, very similar in initial appearances to AI. On the right hand side, you've got a collection or a list of cited sources. So we've got NatWest with their blog post about what is a mortgage and how do they work. Another from Lloyd's, what is a mortgage and how do they work? So very original names for their content in here. But on the left, in the main body of the content, it's here's what it is, how it generally works. You get a deposit, you get a loan amount, there's a secured loan. And you scroll down, and there's right now not an additional, here's the next question to ask. You can just click a button and you can ask the most likely question after that. I imagine that feature will come, but you can do, as Charlie mentioned, ask another question. So Charlie, what question should we ask of the AI mode after this point?
Maybe what kind of mortgage can I get if it's my first house purchase?
Okay. Oops. If it's my first house. Cool. Let's see what it has to say. So very quickly, it starts to just search through hundreds of different websites. So you see it in a flash, but it comes up with thinking about it and then searching for sources, searching for websites. And it very quickly just rattles up a number in the hundreds. We checked all these different places and you've got an immediate response. Now, to anybody who's used to ChatGPT, it's probably not going to be that surprising the way that this is laid out. Wouldn't you think, Charlie?
I don't think so. I think it's going to feel like a very similar experience to ChatGPT. The main difference that I think people are going to find is Google's AI mode is designed to be as neutral as possible. So it's designed to be very objective. And I think that it's going to feel a bit strange to users of ChatGPT, religious users of ChatGPT, because ChatGPT becomes much more personalized to you. It becomes very conversational. It prompts you what to do next. Whereas AI mode by Google is specifically designed to be as objective and neutral as possible, not giving opinions. And it's not speaking to you in that conversational way. It is almost like you're reading a third-party blog post that's written for you by AI. So I think that's going to be the initial friction that users find if they're heavy users of ChatGPT, is it's not like that. But I think it's a good thing that at the moment it isn't, that it has that clear neutrality and objectivity to its answers.
Do you think that neutrality will last?
I have huge reservations about that. I suspect they will try to make it last in some senses, but we know already that AI mode is going to become more and more personalized because it's going to have data from pretty much all of your Google Suite. It's going to be able to read your past emails if you use Gmail. It's going to be able to see your calendar. It's going to know your past purchase history if you purchased on a Google browser. So I think that will firstly make it become less neutral. It becomes more subjective based on what it knows you like, what it knows you want from the search results. The other big thing that we know is going to happen is that Google is going to find a way to integrate ads into AI mode. And I think any kind of search result that uses ads, that is automatically less neutral because there's a pay to play part going on.
Absolutely. I just did a quick search without telling it where I lived and asked it, which is the best mortgage broker near me? And this is key if you're in local, your business is very localized, where you're dependent on near me searches. It's picked up exactly where I am and it started to pick out the best mortgage brokers near me. And what's surprising to me is that my mortgage broker isn't in here. Why are they? What's wrong with them? They're not the best. Well, that's disappointing. But like a key feature in here is, okay, summarized about each of these different businesses, something about them. So this particular one is praised for making the process easy and quick with strong communication. So it's pulling through all this information around the web and trying to almost like similar to when you go and search which is the best Android phone under £500. Somebody has gone ahead and done all the research and figured out, okay, this phone is good for this reason. The pros and the cons of this, it's available in these colors, and we've tested it. The durability isn't great. It scratches easily, but the camera is probably the best for this price range. It's done all of that research for me and just summarized it very quickly. So I'm not there then going through to their website straight away or double checking review websites, which I don't know what they are, but potentially Trustpilot and FIFO. Maybe there are some mortgage specific ones out there as well, but it's doing all of that middle of the funnel searching for me. I'm not having to open 6, 7, 8 different pages anymore because it's just doing all that work for me, which presents a bit of a problem for businesses who are reliant on that traffic.
I think it presents a bit of a problem for businesses who are tunnel vision on the total amount of traffic going to their website, or they rely very, very heavily on their branding and their visuals to differentiate them, where just like this example you've got live here in AI mode, it's text-based. There's a couple of images, like one cover image, which looks like it's based on the Google Maps images that it's got at the bottom. But the first bit is an ordered list, a bullet point list with a text description. So that is potentially going to pose a problem for some businesses. That is going to be later down the funnel. But my perspective on this is Google's essentially just trying to compress the buyer journey here. It's trying to answer all of these questions much quicker, so someone doesn't have to navigate to 5 or 6 different mortgage broker websites to have a look at their whole website, try and roughly read half the homepage to get an impression of them. It's just condensed all of that information into the AI mode results for you, which means actually the clicks, the traffic that then does go through should be more qualified because they've already read information about you. So I think for businesses, the focus needs to be actually, am I visible enough? And is it the information about me in AI mode compelling enough that I'm getting clicks still? And that may be less than businesses have experienced before. But most importantly is that click, is that traffic then leading to a conversion on my website, which is ultimately what a business's focus needs to be for their website.
I was reading a post earlier of somebody complaining on Reddit that they've been targeted to increase their traffic to 200,000 hits. And they're trying to make the counter argument of it's all for nothing if none of it converts. Like, why are we trying to generate just more and more traffic if there's no leads off the back end? I do wonder if the target is less so much about traffic generation, but more qualified traffic generation. You can't just throw another bunch of blogs or landing pages or whatever it is, your methodology for helping your website to rank more and get more organic traffic, and hope that just that volume alone is going to help you generate more leads, which are going to turn into revenue and profit. You actually need to think, okay, if more of the buyer journey, more of the funnel is absorbed by Google and AI platforms, what do I need to do to make sure that my business, my brand, comes out on top when it comes to being mentioned in AI mode? Is there anything we could be doing when it comes to getting our brand mentioned in AI mode?
There's quite a lot of things that businesses could be doing to improve their mentions in AI mode, but also in other LLMs like ChatGPT as well. I think there's been quite a lot of fear around moving to LLMs, optimizing for LLMs, and misunderstandings about how different or not it is from SEO. There's some fundamentals that are true of websites and SEO in general that still play into optimizing for AI mode, optimizing for LLMs. That's things like having really good technical SEO on your site, things like having a great site speed, things like having thought about your CRO, your conversion rate optimization on site, the journey that people take on the website. All of those foundational things about having a functioning website that actually works are super important. Potentially even more so, I would say, for LLMs and AI mode, because they just won't reference your website if it doesn't work well. If they encounter things like 404s, 503 errors, any of that rubbish, then they're just going to close it and move on to the next search result. They're just not going to surface that content to the user because they know the website doesn't work well. So all of those things that we know are true and have always been true are still true with LLMs. But when it comes to AI mode, there are other things that you can be doing to make sure that your business shows up well. The first is on-site content, making sure you've optimized content well for AI search. And there's nuances in that. There's lots of jargon that gets thrown around about how you optimize that content. But it's rephrasing, it's clustering content together. It's thinking about what is most relevant for the kinds of searchers, the kinds of users, the kinds of customers that you want on your website. One of the biggest changes here that Google's been explicit about is something called the query fan out technique. And that is an underlying technique that is being used to decide which content to surface by AI mode. And what it essentially is when you make a singular search for a keyword, in the background, AI mode and other LLMs as well can run multiple different queries, hundreds of different related queries. So if you're asking for something, if you're saying, I want the best CRM for my sales team, it's not only running the singular query of best CRM for my sales team, it's also running lots of related queries in the background. So it might be doing, HubSpot versus Salesforce, most affordable CRMs for businesses of a certain size, etc., to amalgamate information for you so that the searcher no longer has to put in multiple different searches to eventually get the information it wants. It's preempting what you need to know in the background, doing it for you, trying to provide a better answer that moves you down the buyer journey quicker. So figuring out that is really important, particularly for SEOs and content writers. And then probably the other half that's really worth looking at is understanding what AI mode cites in relation to queries related to your business. So if it's not citing you, firstly, that's one thing to look at. But if it's citing different kinds of review sites, different kinds of articles, news articles, whatever it is, whatever your sector is, actually, the easiest way to probably do that is to think about the kinds of searches people make that eventually lead them to your business, understand what's being cited, and then have a PR and citation building strategy built around that.
Just on the idea of this query fan out, where it's doing all these background searches because it's got this thinking tech. Every AI now has got this little thing called thinking, where it displays or has hidden, but considers what it's being asked before just returning the first thing that comes to mind. Very much like a human could come out with an immediate response to a question. If you think about it for longer, you come out with a better suggestion. Most likely the case.
Yeah.
It's getting the chance to think over all these different things. But as it starts to become more personal and learn more about you, like ChatGPT has extended its history so it knows all of your previous searches. Does that not mean that at some point these query fan outs, the searches behind the primary search, are going to be more hyper personalized, and there's not going to be content for some of these? Like, very specifically, I am a mortgage broker in Edinburgh, and I'm specifically helping this group of people. I'm going to need to have content around. Let's say I help people who are immigrants to Edinburgh, immigrants to Scotland, first time getting a mortgage in Edinburgh. You're going to need to have very personalized content to that to make sure it comes up. Otherwise, the generalized content may not win out. The brand that does have that piece of highly personalized content is going to be the one that's cited there. So therefore, does that mean that we need to start churning out a lot of different content for all these possibilities of personalization?
Oh my goodness, please no. I think I think the best way to think about this is you already know who your customers are, and each customer is an individual person. So the fact that personalized search is happening shouldn't be the big panic that it is if you know who your customers generally are. And then there's going to be groupings. So just in your example there, those are probably that mortgage company probably is mostly working with foreign nationals instead rather than UK nationals. So it's actually looking at their immigration status, making sure that they can get a good mortgage rate for a first purchase in the UK. Very niche kind of thing going on there. You don't need to create 100 articles to make it clear that you work predominantly with that kind of customer. You can just do that in the content that you already have. So you can create articles, making sure you're writing towards the types of customers that you generally work with, that your product or your service best serves, and you can integrate that into your usual content. Because the interesting thing about AI is it doesn't read top to bottom like a human user does, and it can amalgamate information across hundreds, if not thousands, of pages very quickly. So it can locate what it needs within other content. You don't need to have individual pieces of content for every sort of single thing that you can think of, but you probably do still want to think about content in cluster form by thinking about, okay, what kind of topics need covering here, and what kind of searches, what kind of articles might users actually need in order to understand, to have enough context about what the business sells and what the product or service actually is, what it does, how it works, whatever it is.
I'm just coming back to the title for today's podcast, which is Google's AI mode arrives in the UK, time to panic. I can't help but feel that if I was a marketing manager for another business, if I was head of marketing for healthcare business, let's say I do private healthcare insurance, this might be the first time I'm seeing this stuff. I probably would be panicking because I'm going to see this thing appear and not see my website linked to potentially. As you saw, if you're watching along, it's just 3 links that appear at the top there. It's rare that we're seeing links within an AI mode result. We have been doing testing on this quite a long time, so we've seen a lot of US results, and I have occasionally seen links within the content, but even then it takes you through to Google My Business page and not to an actual website. So I think I might be panicking at this point because it sounds like I probably am going to have to start explaining to my stakeholders, my line managers, that we're not going to get traffic as much. There's probably a lot of hard work that's needed to create the content, update my content, and even then it may not even get cited at all. Like, I feel like I probably would be panicking. How can we settle some nerves a little bit?
Well, I think a little bit of panicking is actually good, as long as it's productive panicking. It's proactive panicking. You're going to do something off the back of the panicking. The bad kind of panicking is now burying your head in the sand, pretending it's not happening, doing nothing. That is not where you want to be. So if that is how you're feeling, like, I get you, I understand, but it is time to start moving towards productive panicking, where we're thinking about, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to manage this situation? The good thing is that if you're listening to this podcast and you are having a slight panic now, you still know about this quite early doors. This is not yet the main search. It's not the default search. It hasn't switched over. We know, Google has said it themselves, that eventually they plan to use features from AI mode as the default search. So we can be quite sure that something relatively similar to this will become the default, and that rollout isn't going to take forever. I mean, this launched in May. It's in the UK in August already. So a couple of months later, we can see the kind of timeline is becoming quite compact with this kind of rollout. At the moment, based on the data that we have shared from Google around how much AI mode accounts for, in terms of total search sessions going on, it's about 1.25%. So that's 1 to 2% of people choosing to use AI mode because it's not the default search. So you have a little bit of time to start prepping, to start planning, to start having those conversations with stakeholders. This is probably, if you've been on top of your SEO and search, you already know that it's been going this way with AI overviews, particularly businesses publishing lots of informational types of content. You've probably seen that impressions are going up whilst clicks are decreasing. So your traffic is taking a hit already. This is going to show the same kind of trajectory as that. You need to be thinking about how the traffic that you can get is going to convert and making sure it's really, really qualified.
I can't help but feel like some of this stuff I wish I'd invested in different aspects of marketing a bit earlier. The one thing that's really shouting out to me, not me personally, I feel like we're doing right. You know, if you search for like best AI search optimization agency, you're going to see Exposure Ninja right at the top there. You know, if it's not in the top 1, I'd be amazed because we really got it down. However, I can't help but feeling there is a lot of stuff around brand that would have really benefited me now if I'd have dedicated more time to it, because that seems to be one of the key parts of featuring AI mode is the underlying SEO for sure. Technical SEO plays a huge part in it too. Make sure that the website is easy to understand, that you're making the data really easy to understand and reuse, because all these AIs just love data and they're often featuring tables, statistics and things like that. You really want to make that as easy as possible for it to find and extract. But they're often highlighting which brands to which businesses to put at the top of the list that it generates, like that mortgage broker search that we did just before. It's basing it off reviews and what people are saying about the business and how well liked it is. Is sentiment positive? Is it neutral? Is it negative? And I feel like that is a huge part of this that is probably most under the radar for a lot of people, because they think, oh, this is just another SEO thing. It's displaying my existing SEO in a different way. But I think it's actually a big brand investment, like a big focus on brand that, again, should have been paid more attention to earlier. What would you recommend to people?
I would recommend thinking about brand, but also more thinking about your positioning in the market and the statements that you make about your business as well. Because these are the kinds of things, if you're a business and you've not got very good reviews, and every business has been there, every business has growing pains, and that's something that they have to work on and resolve to make sure they're really delivering to their customers. That's going to have been affecting your clicks from normal search as well. I've seen exact examples of that, a business getting a flurry of not very good reviews. Maybe something happened, a change in management, a change in product or service, and suddenly that happens and they're like, oh wow, my branded search traffic is dropped off a cliff. But we've always, as humans, looked at reviews for the products and services we're going to buy. So I think all of those things are still true. It's just that AI will more readily surface that kind of information or decide to drop you off completely. So yes, I definitely think thinking about brand, thinking about reviews specifically as well is very important. And I also think some of this comes down to what I mentioned earlier around the PR side, how other websites talk about your business, your brand is becoming increasingly important beyond just thinking about review sites like Trustpilot and G2 and FIFO and all of those. It's pulling from all sorts of articles. It's pulling from Wikipedia, we see a lot, Reddit, we see a lot, Quora, we see a lot, but also just general PR publications as well. I've seen skincare brands pulling from things like Cosmo and Glamour magazines. It kind of makes sense because those citations are relevant to that brand and they're relevant to what the person is searching. So for me, all of that is just pulling together all of the signals about your brand online.
Charlie, I know that you're preparing for a speaking engagement you have at MOSCOM, which is happening in London in just a couple of weeks' time. And if you're watching this, because this is like AI mode in the UK, I suggest that you hop along and meet Charlie face to face. But in there, you're doing obviously, you're going to be sharing some research, which I don't want to give too much away because they should turn up and hear it from you face to face. But you've been looking at some of the, as you say, the sources for these responses. Is it, if you rank in the top 10, the same as before? If you're in the top 3, you were guaranteed to be the first 3 links cited on the right-hand side of the AI mode, or is there a different game at play?
Oh no, sadly that is not the case for businesses who are thinking that they are safe. You are not. Google has also explicitly said the answers that you get in AI overviews are not going to be the same as the answers you get in AI mode as well. So even if you're dominating there, this is actually a separate kind of optimization you're doing. The good thing for the underdogs and for the businesses who really know who their target market is that AI mode can scour way beyond the first page of Google, and it will do, to find you the most relevant result, which means it could pull something from page 3, page 4, even further in the search results if it feels like that content is more relevant to the user. And it does that very commonly, which means that if you are positions 1, 2, 3 on Google, that doesn't necessarily mean you'll be referenced. You may well be if you are the most relevant answer, But if it's a more specific kind of search, which it very much could be in AI mode, Google has also shared that from all of the testing it's done so far, search queries tend to be 2 to 3 times longer in AI mode compared to what people search in regular Google search, which means people are asking more specific queries. They're giving more context. So they are going to start seeing results from different places in those search results pages because it's going to be more relevant to the specific query they're asking.
You just brought up a memory from last night. So not the drinking the pub bit, but actually like the thing that I was discussing, which is I got an announcement through to my phone. It was saying that Dotdash Meredith, which owns like 40, 50 different publishers across the world, like, huge websites that you would know. Let me just double check the list. There's like, what is it? Very quickly, InStyle, Martha Stewart, Health Magazine, All Recipes People, Very Well Mind, Very Well, everything else. They're discontinuing investing in 19 of their 40 brands off the back of like all these changes in AI. Like they're just not going to continue to like generate new content and so on, because they know that they're pretty much going to lose a lot of that traffic to AI mode as well. So I think, I hate to say it, but there is like a bit of necessary panic here, like to figure out what's the best AI search or just AI general strategy for your business, because nobody is exempt from the impact of all this kind of stuff. You really have to be thinking right now, what do I do about it? What do I do about not just today, but how is this going to impact me in a year from now? Like if Dotdash Meredith, which is, I presume $1 billion company, is having to stop investing in some of their brands, like they haven't got the solution either, or, there's no way around it. They're just going to lose all that top of funnel informational traffic to Google's AI mode and stuff. They're just going to have to admit defeat and do something else. There are things you can do, as hopefully people have gathered today. But potentially they need to go and seek out some support around AI search. And I would strongly suggest starting with some of our resources. So we have, loads of guides on what is AI search, what is AI search optimization, how to do it. But if we could give people a bit of a short list of like the 2 or 3 things they should go out and do today, what would you suggest?
Fundamentals first, making sure your technical SEO and your CRO is good, which is what you should already have in place. And if you have a nagging doubt that it's not very good, now is definitely the time to take care of it. The next one, I would actually do an audit yourself, and you can do that manually, or there's some really great tools that you can use. SEMrush has an AI toolkit that can help out. Profound also has a whole stack, probably the most advanced stack of AI tools, and they specifically have AI mode within their tool stack as well. So if that's affordable for you, that's an option too. If not, you can do it manually. That's fine. Think about, let's say 10 to 20 priority keywords. They're the biggest money drivers, commercial keywords for your business. Look at those, look at variations of those, look at if you're coming up in AI mode, look at if you're not. Make a list of why you think you're not. Just spend some time doing some analysis. And then also the second half of that is the brand piece. During your analysis, actually, Google your business name. Google, is it a good company? Google various things about your business. Then you'll get a good sense of the sentiment that AI mode has about your business. And you'll see quite quickly the things you need to fix. So if AI mode is pulling up that you've got 2.5 stars on your Google My Business listing, well, there you go. You know what the number one thing to focus on is going to be. If it's giving misinformation about your business, you're thinking, I don't operate in that area, I don't actually sell that kind of product or service, there's probably misinformation on your own website, and things like your about page might need updating, your home page might need updating, your service and product pages might need updating. If it's sourced from somewhere else, it's probably going to show you. So if it's got misinformation from Wikipedia, from other business listings, directories, whatever it is, sort them out. So that is probably my most simple advice, is to actually just make a bit of a plan. Start with the fundamentals, basically your AI visibility and your AI sentiment, and then work out what the plan is from there. Fix the basics, misinformation first, making sure you've got good reviews, that kind of thing. Move on to the brand building, the PR side once you've got that done.
As I said before, you can go to youtube.com/Exposure Ninja. If you look at some of the top or most recent videos, there is one in there called How to Rank in AI Mode, which will give you some of the guidance that we use internally to help our clients to appear in AI mode. Please go ahead, use that, and get your business featured in AI mode if it isn't already appearing. But if you need more guidance, please do come and talk to us directly. We can happily give you a bit of a consultation on what we'd recommend for your website to appear there, but also on your marketing more generally. But before we close, I do love doing these live recordings because we got a question through from somebody on LinkedIn. I can't see your name, so sorry about that. This person is asking about Mark Zuckerberg's announcement about superintelligence. So if you're not familiar, Mark Zuckerberg and the Meta team have like poached people from OpenAI and from Google and wherever they can, offering them billions of dollars. Some people, like most of the people, have been poached away for like 100 million. A contract offering and stuff like that. There was one person for the thing from Apple or OpenAI was offered $1 billion, which is wild. They made this big announcement saying that they're working on building superintelligence, which is just AI plus a lot more. They can just do and pretty much anything you can think of, like more intelligent than people. And that's what they're driving towards. And the person on LinkedIn, is asking, what impact do you think that this AI system that they're building will have on searches? What do you think it would look like? Have you given this much thought?
You know what, Dale, you take this one because I feel like this is your favorite topic at the moment, is what is Meta and Zuckerberg actually up to? And are they going to have any impact on the rest of the world?
Yeah, I mean, often if you listen to this podcast and you tuned into the dojo much over the last 2 years, you'll have heard us talk about the long term, like where this is going. Like we often talked about pretty much AI mode appearing before AI mode was AI mode, before it was even like in beta. We were suggesting, why wouldn't search results just become like this? Why wouldn't you want it to look exactly like or behave exactly like ChatGPT does? It seems inevitable. With superintelligence and the personalized assistance that Zuckerberg is suggesting is going to be what everybody has access to, is what I think we've all suggested for the past year on this podcast. Like we're all going to have a hyper-personalized assistant in some fashion that will just understand everything about you. You mentioned earlier about it's going to know what's in your emails, it's going to know your browsing history, it's going to know where you've been because it tracks you in your phone, like where you walk to and so on. Like it's going to know so much about you that, yeah, the reason they want to build these is because they just want to do more of that. It's not entirely, that they want to make a better world where everybody has all these fantastic things. No, they do want that, but at the same time, they want to make sure that hang on. They do want that. Because if you're using their personal assistant and you're telling it everything about you and what things to add to your shopping list or to turn on the dishwasher or whatever it is, how much data they can then harvest and turn into advertising is mega. If you're using Google's assistant for everything, Meta has no clue, and like as much as it would like to know about you to be able to serve you more hyper-personalized advertising. It's all a race towards data and better advertising, because that's Meta's model, that's Google's model, and eventually that'll be OpenAI's model. Like you're going to pick one of these three operating systems. Like this is where the long term is going. The next step is personalized assistance in some form, an improvement of Google Assistant, an improvement of Meta AI to be an actual standalone app, probably, instead of it just being within WhatsApp. You can actually talk to Meta AI in there. It's eventually going to be, this next step of browsers. Perplexity released a browser. Google's improving its browser to include Gemini within it, so you can tell it to do stuff eventually too. OpenAI are working on a browser. They're actually building out their own search index. Apparently, they're not really using Bing's index anymore. They're using Google's. They're going to eventually have their own index, which means they need a browser so they can track all sessions, all websites you go to, then it will be able to track all the tasks that you ask the browser to do. As we've seen with Perplexity's Comet, you can tell it to do all kinds of things, book things for you. With ChatGPT Agent, you showed last week in the last week's podcast, it can book a restaurant for you as well.
Yeah.
All of them want their own control over this data, to the point that eventually get that just the operating system that your computer runs on will just be the assistant. There won't be like you talk to Google Assistant and then there's Chrome on your laptop, or you talk to Microsoft's Copilot and you also use Windows. It'll just be all one thing. I don't know if you've seen the film Him, Charlie.
I haven't done, no.
Oh, sorry, Her. It's called Her.
Haven't seen that either.
It's amazing. It's with Joaquin Phoenix. He basically installs his operating system, which has a personality, which is like voiced by Scarlett Johansson. It's getting to that point, and it's all for data, and it's to track your searches, and it's to serve you better ads. So, yeah, to go back to the original question, it's going to have a massive impact on searches because they want to know where it is, and they're going to serve you hyper-personalized kind of stuff. So you as a marketer, as a business owner, need to make sure your content is as relevant as it can be to the kinds of customers you're trying to attract. And just the delivery of that search currently is in the Google search, and then in AI mode is eventually going to be in a more like just a personal assistant. And the underlying baseline foundation will very much be what we're recommending now, of having solid SEO based, strong branding kind of stuff, good control over your brand sentiment, customer sentiment towards you as well. That's what we're heading towards. Just one operating system that understands, gets everything it can about you, and controls all of your devices too.
I'm skeptical though about whether Zuckerberg and Meta would actually ever be able to usurp Google when it comes to this. I mean, the same question about OpenAI and Google as well, because Google's not going to want any of these competitors taking its market share, and it will die trying to protect it.
I mean, it's already on the way there. They're already in court. They're already potentially going to have to sell their browser to somebody else, or start selling Android, or make it a separate company, or something like that, which is why they're super in arms, like trying to prevent that, because they need control over this kind of stuff to get towards their end game of having this generalized, personalized assistant.
Yeah.
I think that there is going to be room for disruption there, which I think, like I've said this for a while, Apple are going to go ahead and buy Perplexity because they know that browsers are the next step to this end game that they want. Anyway, we're getting off the point. AI mode is here. Yeah. AI mode is here. It's in the UK now. If you're watching us from anywhere else, I guarantee it's going to be in your part of the world very, very soon too. Maybe in Europe, as you said, Charlie, it's going to take probably the longest amount of time, but many other places, it's inevitability.
Canada and Australia next is my prediction.
Yeah. If Ladbrokes or anybody else taking bets on that, I'd be worth a shot.
Put my money on Canada.
Yeah. Any final thoughts to share, Charlie, before we close this week?
No, I think if you are in panic mode, that's totally okay. Make sure you turn your panic into productivity is my final thought. Love
that. That's excellent. Brilliant. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. If you want to hear more from us, you can go to exposureninja.com/podcast. You can catch over 400 episodes talking about everything in search marketing, from organic and paid, as well as conversion rate optimization, to make sure you are converting the traffic that does eventually come through to your website. If you want to watch us more, you can go to youtube.com/Exposure Ninja. If you have enjoyed today's podcast, it'd be great if you could follow us and subscribe to us, or whichever app or platform you're using. And if you don't like it, I'll refund you that subscription. It's absolutely fine. Brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. I'll see you all next Friday. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.